Receiving students and teachers. Thank you. You may be seated. Oh, wow. Tell me one thing we looked at in our previous lesson.
Rock types. Rock types.
Rock types. Okay, good. In the rock types was the topic of the lesson, our previous lesson. In the rock types, what did we actually look at when we looked at rock types? Receiving students? Good. You tell your teacher. Rock types, Robert.
Sedimentary rock and igneous.
Okay, we looked at those different types of rocks. Very good. Teachers and students, we're still on the same strand. The sub-strand and the learning outcome. Okay, so those were two of the questions which was answered by OR and Robert. Let's see those questions. How many rock types are there? Again, Ubao, how many rock types are there? You receiving students? Okay, you tell the teacher.
3.
How many?
3.
Oh, okay, 3 types. And what are they? Name them.
Sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic.
Okay, very good. Like Robert has already said, there are 3 types of rocks there, and Ubao named them, so did Robert. Okay, receiving students and class, our topic for today, rock types, and it's the second lesson, and this will be lesson number 95. Rock types and lesson number 95. Can receiving students and class, can anyone tell me where you think those different types of rocks are found? Take, for example, this rock here. Take, for example, this rock. In our previous lesson, we looked at those 3 types of rocks, but we were mainly looking at the characteristics of each rock. What makes an igneous rock an igneous rock? A sedimentary rock, and a metamorphic rock, a metamorphic rock. So they have their different characters. Take, for example, this rock. The rock that I've got in my hand. If you still have those characteristics there, is this rock made of crystals? Or is it made of grains? Maybe cemented together. This rock. Or are the crystals lined up? Okay, so this rock, you can see that it is made of grains. Probably some of them are cemented together. It usually has layers. It usually has layers there. And probably may contain fossils of dead parts of plants and animals. It forms, and it's easy to break, usually easy to break. What rock is it? Victoria.
Sedimentary rock.
Sedimentary rock. Right, receiving students and class, did you say sedimentary rock? Okay, that is some of the characteristics of rocks, and it tells us what type of a rock it is. So this rock, if you check out all those characteristics, you will find them in those different rock types, the 3 different rock types. Now, our activity there. In your activity, you will discuss and write down where do you think those sedimentary rocks are mainly found. All right, class and the receiving students, just to help you with the hint, if you look at the earth, in your previous lesson you looked at the structure of the earth. Okay, if you look at this model of the earth made by Laka, okay, if you look at the model of the earth here, you will see there's different layers of the earth. We have the inner core there, and then the outer core. We also have the mantle, and right along the outside there, this bit, we have what is known as the crust. Right along the outside is the crust. Right. Question is, where do you find most rocks? In which of these layers? Mainly those 3 types of rock. Which layer can you find them? Ellipoli.
Crust.
Where do you find them?
Crust.
You find them where the crust is. Yes, class and the receiving students. Do you find those rocks where the crust is? Okay, that's correct. You find all those three different types of rocks where the crust is. Now the crust is a small part of the structure of the earth, but it contains most of these rocks. Okay, from the crust, what you are going to do now is you will go through this and say which part of the crust do you think this is mainly found, the rocks are mainly found. Now these are some examples of the sedimentary rock. Let's look at our activity for a while. We have some examples there. Those are examples of sedimentary rock. Those are the same examples you looked at in your previous lesson as well. And we have the next. Seen some of those near your homes, around your community, anywhere? And you'll also be expected to do, as the next activity is same, but this time you try to see where igneous rocks are mainly found. What part of the crust? Now these are some examples of igneous rocks. Where can you find such rocks? Some other examples? The same question you're going to be asking for the metamorphic rock as well. Okay, so you will also discuss and write down where you think metamorphic rocks are mainly found. Now these are some examples of metamorphic rocks. And some examples. All right, like we discussed, they are mainly found. That's what you're going to do. After you have discussed that and written that down, okay, so you get to draw that. Can you see that on your screen? Right, you draw that up. That is all part of the crust, different layers of the crust itself. Now you label the parts of the crust where you can find metamorphic or sedimentary and igneous rock types. Right, class and the receiving students. Seems like some of you are still confused. Okay, see, we've got the, if this is the earth, we have the core there. Then we have the outer core. We have the mantle. And right outside there we have the crust. There. So that's where the crust is. You have the crust on the ground. On the ground you will have the crust. The words that you can use to describe, you either use the word crust or deeper crust or use outer crust. Now use those three words. Use these three words: crust, deeper crust, and outer sorry, this would be upper. The upper crust. One of those. And then you describe where they are found. Okay, some of you already drawing that picture diagram of the crust. On your screen, you see that cake type of thin. Okay, that is the different layers of those crust. There is the crust itself, and then there is the upper crust and the deeper crust. Now, from those three, which will be the crust that you can see igneous, or you can see metamorphic, or you can see sedimentary rocks? You label the diagram that you can see. All right. Class and the receiving students, let us now check through the different layers there. Which layer we think is the sedimentary rock found? Which layer do you think is the metamorphic or probably igneous rock found? Ashanti, where do you think one of those rocks is found? Indicate on the diagram. Which part of the crust? Okay. Thank you very much. Right. That's where she thinks the sedimentary rock is located. Emmanuel. And the last one. Right, class and the receiving students, this is what the model class thinks each of these rocks are located on those layers that you have. Sedimentary rock, the igneous rock, and the metamorphic rock. Now, if you have it this way, and that's correct. Now, let us fit in all those crusts there. Where do you think is the crust? The layer at the top, the layer in the middle, or the layer at the bottom? Mado. Where do you think the layer indicating the crust? Which layer is it? The one at the top, the one in the middle, or the one at the bottom?
Top.
Top. The one at the top. Right, Mother thinks this one is the crust. Rodney, how about the deeper crust or the upper crust? Where is the deeper crust?
Bottom.
Bottom. Right, Rodney thinks the deeper crust is here. Deeper crust. And the last one would be the upper crust. Right, let us look at that. The crust, the upper crust, and the deeper crust. Right, these two are in their wrong places. This is the upper crust. Right, the upper crust is the one at the top. It's up at the top. Then we have the crust, and we have the deeper crust. Right, let's see. There you have the sedimentary, the igneous, and the metamorphic rock in those layers. Now, if you label the crusts, then you would have the upper crust, the crust, and the deeper crust. So your diagram should look something like this when you draw that down. Let us look at our summary for today. That's our summary. Now our key phrase for today, where rocks are mainly found. Our next lesson topic will be on the rock cycle. And the following are materials needed for the next lesson. With that, thank you very much, class and receiving students, and have a nice day with your teacher.